Hello everyone, today we're going to be working on our crayon techniques. This is kind of for 5th and 6th grade, for 4th and 5th grade. So in 6th grade you could also utilize these as well. So we're going to be focusing on 10 different ones. These are things that you've learned before, and today we're going to be adding 2 new ones, or things that you might not have remembered. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, we're going to start with outline and fill in. This is the most basic version of coloring. This means that you're outlining around an area that you want to color in, and you're also outlining around any of those objects. As we get older, we tend to forget this step, and this is one thing that really helps us be neat and pay attention to where we're coloring, because sometimes we get excited when we just start coloring in an area, and then it's not really as neat as we had planned it to be. Alright, so I'm using my helper hand to hold my paper, and there we go. I've filled in my background. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, so layering. Layering is when you have 2 colors directly on top of each other. You're keeping pretty consistent pressures. You're not really varying the color. It's just 2 pretty basic colors colored on top of each other. So I could do that here in my background. I could literally outline and fill in again, and then just color that second color on top. That literally is all that it is to layering. So no fancy techniques with layering, just putting 2 colors of even pressure when you're coloring on top of each other. So layering is different than blending. So with blending, you always have to remember that there's a light source in your picture. So the light source and blending really lend themselves to making highlights and shadows in your picture. In most pictures, I'd say probably 80%, the light is coming from above because you have, lights above you, especially, if you were in school. So the light source is coming from above. So the easiest thing to kind of keep in mind is to put the lighter colors on top and the darker colors on the bottom. So I'm going to color a pretty light base color. Again, this would be similar to the outline and fill in. And I'm going to color 2 versions of it so that you can see the difference. If I were going to add a lighter color to this, and that was my light color, so I need to go find a lighter color. Here we go. So if I were going to add a lighter color to this, I would put it on top. I'd press as hard as I could without breaking the crayon. Then I'd get a little bit lighter, and even lighter still until I'm barely tickling the paper. So I'm showing a smooth transition or smooth range of values for that picture. So again, the lighter color goes on the top and the darker color goes on the bottom. So you really only have to use one of these, but let me show you how to add a shadow. I'm going to press as hard as I can on the bottom without breaking my crayon, and then again I'm going to go a little bit lighter, and a little bit lighter still. So then I have your first kind of glimpses at showing a shadow. So again, lighter colors go on the top and darker colors tend to stay on the bottom. So side or rubbing means putting your crayon on the side, laying it down flat, using your 2 fingers, pinching and pushing. So it's a really quick, easy way to get a solid color down, especially if you're doing one of these other techniques where you need to have a base color down before you do anything else. So the rubbing part means finding an object that has texture, putting your paper on top, and then putting that crayon down again on its side and rubbing. That gives you that texture. Stippling, again, is similar to rubbing, where it starts out with a base color, but then you're actually using the tip of your crayon to kind of do small controlled pokes. Typically with a crayon, you're going to have to do a little bit of twisting motion in order for the color to actually come off. So I have my stippling there. Overlapping for details, again, requires a base color, and this is where you could add texture, details, anything like that. It could be the pattern on a shirt, it could be the texture of grass, it could be the pattern on, your shoes, whatever type of things you need to add. So that's overlapping for details. Again, you have to have a color down first. Twisting, also have to have a base color, and this is when you're taking your crayons and you're just basically holding them straight up and down and doing a random twisting motion. This is really great for representing rough areas, the texture of a stone wall, or of the outside of a house, sometimes even like elephant skin or desert. That'll give you that random sort of effect. Okay, so engraving is when you have some sort of detail, layered colors, pattern, what have you. So you have something underneath, and then you take a dark color, typically it's black, and you color it as hard as you can on top of it without ripping your paper. So as hard and as dark as you can. And then you take an object that's kind of sharp, and I'm going to use my fingernail, and you actually carve into that crayon that's on top. And so then it reveals what's underneath. Next, we're going to do hatching. So hatching is small, controlled lines that are closely spaced together, like this. People get confused with this one, find it very difficult to use. Let me show you in the outline fill-in the easiest way to use this. I could use hatching to make an area darker, and I can blend using hatching. Watch. I'm going to add this darker color to the bottom of this object to represent where the shadow of this object would be. And I'm doing that by doing those straight lines. I've used hatching right here to make a shadow. Hatching is great for adding shadows. Cross hatching is when you take and you make those short lines, and then you basically do the exact opposite from it in a 45-degree angle. It helps make an area even darker, as I do it here under that cube. All right, everyone, this has been your 4th and 5th grade coloring techniques. Again, 6th grade can do this one also, because hatching and cross hatching are the only new ones. All right, everyone, if you have any questions, let me know.